Come on into the live, everyone. I want to tie that up so tight that I won't be able to talk. Oh well. Come on into the live stream, everyone. Just want to talk about a couple of things. If you're here, blessings to you, Michael. Blessings to you. I just want to talk about a couple of things on tonight when it comes to concerning you found a mate. And I believe at this time that we're in right now, you're going to see God do some amazing things when it comes to relationships, when it comes to newfound friendships, and those things that could be more. And those of you who are coming in that desire a mate, desire a spouse, my prayer is for you to have that. I want you to take a moment and like and share and tag real quickly, because I'm only going to be 20 minutes. I want to talk to some of you on tonight and how some of the things that we do view and look at are not necessarily some of the things that we begin to stand on in seeing what we're looking for when it comes to a mate or a divine person. I want to, right here in the beginning of it, and I used to do quite many of these a while back, and I want to ask this question to some of you all on tonight. Does God choose your mate? I want to ask that question because that question has been blowing in the wind for so long. I want to ask that question tonight. Does God choose your mate? And I don't mind any answers tonight while I'm here for a little while on tonight. I need some answers here. Do you think, some of you on here, do you think that God really actually choose your mate for your life or your spouse or your mate? Does he choose your mate or your spouse, or does God just actually leave it up to you? Because, in the times past and so many things that I've seen and so many people have said, well, this is the man or this is the woman that God has blessed me with. And before you know it, seems like this is the man or this is the woman that God told me to get away from and divorce him. So I'm asking a question tonight, and I really would love for answers tonight. Does God choose your mate? Does God choose your mate? And some of y'all can give me some feedback if you like. Does God choose your mate? I believe, now while some of you are trying to get your answer, and I'm going to look over some of your answers now, I believe that is something that God has really left up to us, but I believe God actually confirms if you found your mate or not. I don't necessarily think or feel like that you are in, like what the Bible said, like some people put this in a pursuit or a hunt. I don't actually believe that. I actually believe that you may come across someone that you may be interested in, and that you may have an opportunity to go out on a few dates, and you may have interest even the more in them after you getting to know them some. Not necessarily that God necessarily put you all together as a husband and a wife couple. And sometimes people go as far as to say, well, God chooses our mates and chooses who we want us to be with. And sometimes I don't believe that is always true. I believe that you have the power, or you have the potential to choose your own mate. Because again, it is what you are looking for. And I know many people have said, and many people have gone on and on with going and on and saying that, God chooses somebody that you need and not anybody that you may want. I beg to differ on that. I believe that if God is going to choose somebody for you, it's going to cover all those areas, just as you're choosing someone for yourself and you get God's sanction on that, then you can be blessed in that union. I feel as though when we develop a relationship first with our first love, we tend to gain the God-given grace and knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we need in order to choose correctly and a mate. I believe that. I believe that God gives us the power to choose our own mate. There are some desires that you contain. There are some desires that are on the inside of you that God put in you, that He called you to have a desire for a particular type, I believe. And sometimes it may not be in that type, but as you begin, see, people are not going to know anybody if they can't date them or get to know them. And sometimes people have made the mistakes of marrying someone that they don't even know. Have made the mistake of actually just going ahead and marrying them because they said that they are their wife, or that person, a particular person, is their husband or their spouse or their mate. And sometimes it goes as far as to God saying that, but then they venture off into other things with that particular relationship. There are signs and there are keys to you knowing. It's just like this, for instance, when you have gotten to know some person, this may have been a friend for some of you, or may have been an acquaintance for some of you, and you have gotten to know them, and you've gotten to know them to the point that you feel like they cannot handle who you really are. I would just say that you have just found out that that person may not be or can become your spouse or your mate because you're not on the same page. I actually think that you have to be on the same page, even if it's not the same writing. Because, and I often say to people that you need to become friends with an individual so that you can not find them out, but know them and know how they move, know how they operate, know what they are all about. Learn to know them, gravitate to who they are, and see if you really like them, like their personality, like the way they do things. Come on, the things that we don't check. Do they have good credit? Do they have bad credit? Do they own anything? Do they have anything? Do they have good hygiene? What are some of the things, what are some of the things that you are looking at as in having a spouse or a mate that you just haven't looked at? What are the things that you're looking at or looking for in a spouse or in a mate? Come on, y'all can talk back to me tonight. What are some of the things that you're looking for? You're looking for honesty. You're looking for straightforwardness. You're looking for trust. Come on, throw some of those things at me. You're looking for companionship. I was telling somebody the other day, they was talking about companionship. I was like, you don't need companionship for marriage. You don't need a marriage for companionship. You can have a companionship with a friend. So what are your views? Honesty and transparency. That's great. Honesty and transparency is sometimes the things that keep that relationship grounded. Reciprocation. I love that, Jabril. I'm telling you, reciprocation. Because oftentimes we look at relationships, we look at things as such, and we don't think about reciprocation. We don't think about, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And you never get anything else in this because they don't give you nothing in return. I'm big on reciprocation. And I'm big on reciprocation of me not having to tell you. I rather have it being reciprocation over requested or instructed reciprocation. Because that individual that you have been spending time with should already know what the deal is. They should already know. Now, I want to ask another question here. How do you feel? How do some of you feel? Far as you feeling like, and I'm not going to say mate, but you have found like a friend. And you tend to like that friend in such a way, How do you feel about that person and you feeling about them being your spouse or your mate would go as far as to move in with them before you're married? Can I have some views on that? How do you feel about living with an individual that you say that you're going to marry? Because many people say that they're going to marry them, but they never get to that point. They'll sit around and talk about it. They'll walk around and sit about it, and they never get to that point because I actually believe that they're still in the learning processes. And then after they begin to move in, the process becomes a little longer in some things, and the views become a little shorter in other things. How do you feel about moving in with someone that you're not married to, but you plan on marrying them? And why do you feel the way you do about it? Come on up for answers on tonight. Yeah. Can it last with you moving in with that individual and you not knowing how else am I going to learn? Not so good. From my own experience, it's not going to happen. And sometimes we have bad experiences in that because sometimes people don't get along too good. And this is why I'm saying to tonight that maybe it's not always God that chose your mate. Sometimes it may be you that chooses your mate. And you're going to have to be able to see, you're going to be able to understand, you're going to have to be able to go out with them. You're going to first have to be able to converse with them and talk to them and understand them and learn them and who they are. Come on, you have to learn how to ask questions. You're going to have to learn how to maneuver into things that you want to avoid and ask those questions too, because everything is important. You need to know where they're coming from. What are they coming out of? Did you just come out of a bad breakup? Are you healed? Because listen, because some people tend to think that your healing takes place from another individual by being with another individual. Jumping out of one thing and jumping into another one will never completely heal you. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Jumping out of this and jumping into that will not heal you. Now, sometimes it will help you to get through a little bit, but it won't necessarily heal you. So you're looking at, in the terms of you healing, sometimes you put yourself out there to be set back a little bit further until the healing comes. And did you know some people are all right with that? Because, Elizabeth, that is toxic. Because sooner or later, the toxicity is going to begin to breathe and extract from your inward parts. Yes. So you want to get to know somebody, and you want to get to know them to the point where you feel comfortable. Because people don't move people into their houses unless they're comfortable. So sometimes people are comfortable with individuals. Watch this. But they're not, they're comfortable with them, but they're not willing with them to go the extra mile. Yeah. They're comfortable with them, but they're not willing to go. Yeah. Extra mile. Yeah. So you have to learn, first of all, you have to be spending some time with you and what you want. Put it up in your mind. What do I really want? What am I really looking for? And when you begin to stand on that, God begins to sanction that in your life. Because you don't need, listen, you're getting to a point and a place in your life where maturity is coming together in your life. And once you start maturing, you start thinking differently. And once you start thinking differently, you start moving and living differently. And you have to make sure that that person is up for the long haul in your life and not up for the short haul that just takes you up the street a little bit and dump you off. How do I know this individual? How will I get to know him? The do's and the don'ts, the ups and the downs. What are you healed? What makes you angry? What makes you upset? What makes you tick? What makes you talk? How is your communication skills? Do you have a problem? Do you have attention disorder? How is it that you have come to this point and place in life and you're not married? What are the things that are going on in you that may not necessarily be going on in somebody else, that you can look and manage those things and say, for a person that you care for, that we can work our way through them? Because it's going to take some work in a relationship if it's going to work. That's what it's all about. Yes. You have to know what you want. Because some of you, how do you know? Are you working on you? And sometimes people take the other person as a project and they are the project manager. And they're trying to rebuild and reconstruct and do this, tear down and build up and tear out and gut out and build. No, when that person is not a project, that person should be someone to love and someone to honor. Why is it that you want that person as a project? They came like that to you. Are you ready for love? Are you ready to build what love builds? Are you ready to carry what love carries? Are you ready to get along, or do you have this narcissistic problem in your life, like in others, that you just want everything your way, and if it's not your way, it becomes toxic or it's not good enough. It's just bad. What kind of heart do you have? What kind of person do you have? Are you willing to help beyond when somebody else is not really to help at all? Are you in a place to find a good mate? Are you a good mate? And what consider you to be a good mate? What is it that considers you to be a good mate? How do you know that you're a good mate? How do you know that you're the one? How do you know that you're chosen to be a good mate? How do you know that? How do you see? How do you think about yourself in being a good mate? How can you serve the other in being a good mate?